I have some thoughts.
Yeah. So what are kind of your three biggest surprises from hearing all this and where everyone's at?
I had a lot of surprises from just looking at the voting as a whole. Some of them like in the fringe area as being starters or not, and some of them that weren't anywhere to be heard of between you and I. One of those names for me, and one of the biggest surprises, Brandon Nimmo, who is 31st in all of baseball in WAR. He's hitting .290 this season, playing a great center field. He is 12th in the voting. Nowhere close. I mean, I struggle, and I don't want to say I don't get it because I do. The Mets have not been good. Therefore, their fans, who these players getting voted on, they're largely getting voted on. Besides the Judges, Otanis, Acunas, they're largely getting voted on by their own fan base. And Mets fans aren't exactly in the mood to be voting for players to make the All Star Game. So I do get it, but Brandon Nimmo should be up there in that conversation. At least right now, in the conversation of being an all-star. Seeing him 12th, to me, that ain't right.
Yeah. I have one that kind of like piggybacks off of that.
Okay.
I was shocked how big of the gap there was between Freddie Freeman and Pete Alonso. Because Pete Alonso obviously leads the league in home runs right now. But as you just mentioned, Met fans aren't in the mood to be voting right now. So that actually checks out and makes sense.
Yeah.
But there is almost a 400,000 vote gap between the two of them. That's a big gap.
I think a lot of that is Mets fans being pissed, but also I get Pete has 22 homers and he's leading the league as of right now, but there's really no
Freddie's definitely.
Yeah.
I think I was just shocked. I was like, I thought New York teams would come hard and vote for their people.
New York Mets fans are probably voting for the other team's players right now. They're probably pissed off at everybody.
What else you got?
Okay. Another one for me. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has been really good this year.
Yeah.
But this is the wrong D-backs outfielder.
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll is the clear all-star, and he's not even. You said he's in the top 6, right? So he'd be in that. He's not a starter, but he's listed.
He was 5th.
Crazy.
Yeah, so
crazy.
Juan Soto, Corbin Carroll, Fernando Tatis Jr., Michael Harris second. That's kind of like the next chunk. But he's actually like pretty far back. He only has 232,565 votes.
Yeah, how many?
232,000.
Yeah, 231,000 of those are mine. So we need people to start voting for Corbin Carroll. What are we doing, guys? I haven't just been barking up a tree about this all year long for no reason. This guy, if the season ended right now, is getting MVP votes, and if it's not for Ronald Acuna, he's the most valuable player in the National League. With this team that has been a huge surprise this year and has been really good and really fun. Corbin Carroll is an all-star. Not that Lourdes Gurriel isn't, but Corbin Carroll should be the starter. Crazy to me.
Yeah.
All right, who's another one?
My second surprise also has to do with the outfield. I was kind of surprised how big of a gap there was between Judge and Trout. Because Trout, for so many years, was the leader. He was the AL vote leader for so long in the All-Star voting. Obviously, Judge coming off the historic MVP season that he had. Once again, when he was healthy, when he's been healthy this season, kind of picking up right where he left off. But yeah, it was just a little surprising. Almost 246,000 votes between the two.
My not an argument here.
Yeah.
My response would be, and this is tough, but if his name wasn't Mike Trout, he wouldn't be here at all this year. I mean, he's 252 with 14 homers.
Yeah.
Good year, not great year. But he's Mike Trout. He should be an all-star because he's Mike Trout. I don't disagree with him being an all-star. I love Mike Trout. But just not a typical Mike Trout-esque season.
That's fair.
And not the New York audience that you mentioned earlier that
is going
will
hard.
Vote. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's another one you got?
Another surprise for me is Jose Altuve. You guys played in 2 weeks of games.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's already where he's
second.
He's second in the All-Star voting.
But it's a pretty big gap. Marcus
but
Semien is 707,000, and Jose Altuve is 363,000.
Yeah, but he's played in like 14 games this season.
But again, it's Jose Altuve. That's
true.
The reason.
Look, I have a love-hate relationship with voting for the All-Star game. I am of the belief that if a player has the numbers, he should be an All-Star. But I am also at the same time of the belief, so this cancels out my own thought, that the game it's an exhibition game for entertainment, and the game needs the Mike Trouts of the world there. No matter, if Mike Trout's hitting 220 with 5 homers, he shouldn't be an all-star. But like, if he's having a good, not great year, he should be there. He's going to be he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And he's still playing good baseball. He should be there. But I also, there are also these flaws in the voting where Toronto Blue Jays, they're just all of them get voted in because all of Canada votes for the Blue Jays. And next thing you know, you look up and there's eight of the 9 starters for the Toronto Blue Jays are all-stars, which is great for the vote. Like, it's great, but there are definite flaws in the situation and again, I just think one of them would be Jose Altuve, who I love, and I will be happy to see him in Seattle.
Yeah.
But he's played in 14 games this year. I mean, it's crazy.
That's funny.
Do you have one more?
I do. And this was probably my biggest surprise. Ronald Acuna Jr. has more votes than Shohei Otani.
Yeah.
I for sure thought Shohei Otani was going to be the leading vote getter out of every single player on this ballot. But it's not. It's Ronald Acuna Jr. has over 1 million votes. Otani's just under at 924,000. But still, that was a bit surprising.
You know what? And not to I will vote for Ronald every time I fill out a ballot. But I do think it makes a big difference. When you go to outfield, there's 3 names you can select. Ronald is always going to be one of them. You can vote for your favorite player and also say, but Ronald. Okay. And then the DH position, you have 1 person to select. And if you're voting for your favorite team's DH, you're not voting for Shohei Otani. So.
All right. But still.
No,
Can Japan vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was shocking to me. I thought that we'd get a lot more of the entire country of Japan voting for Otani.
I wouldn't be surprised if we look up at the end of the voting and
he's leading.
Especially now he's on another planet right now.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to players who you think deserve. Your top 3 players that you think deserve to be first-time All-Stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a few names. Well, you said 3. I have more, but I will do 3.
Okay.
Number 3 for me, Yandy Diaz. Tampa Bay Rays have been the best team in baseball all year long. Yandy Diaz has been hitting over 300 all year long. He's been a huge part of this lineup and this team, and it is a travesty if we don't vote in at least a couple Tampa Bay Rays because of how good they've been. And my worry and my belief is that we won't. I don't think there will be many Rays starting. I don't. I hope that's not the case. Yandy Diaz should be a first-time All-Star. I believe he's currently top 2?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm pulling him up. Yeah, he's definitely second.
Okay. So Yandy Diaz is there and deserves to be a first-time All-Star.
And he's close. He's not that far behind Vladdy. So Vladdy's in first.
But he ain't going to beat out that Canadian vote. They're going to...
Vladdy's at 545,976. Yandy's at 533, 179.
All right. A lot of numbers getting thrown at you.
I know.
Maybe we can just stop at the 1,000 before the comma.
All right. I will. I'll round.
We'll round.
Okay.
Up or down. Either one.
So who else? I know there's a big one
number 2 for me, Will Smith, who has deserved to be an All-Star. Last year was one of the biggest snubs. This year, I can't believe the guy.
That's crazy he hasn't been an All-Star yet.
No. Isn't it?
He's been arguably one of the best catchers in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Needs to be an All-Star, deserves to be an All-Star. He's number 2 for me. And number 1 player that deserves to be a first-time All-Star, Corbin Carroll.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked all about him a few minutes ago, but that one is obvious to me. Corbin Carroll deserves to be an All-Star. So, clear NL Rookie of the Year favorite, clear top 3 in MVP voting if the season ended right now, clear All-Star. Also, he's it's not just a guy he's one of the most exciting players to watch in the game of baseball. Can hit for power, has 13, 14 homers, can steal a bunch of bases, 20 stolen bases. He's so fun, so fast. He's a top 3 fastest player in the game of baseball, and he would be great on that stage up in Seattle for the Midsummer Classic.
I agree. I had 2 of those 3 on my list. I had one more that I would add on, and it's Randy Arozarena. He has just had an epic year helping lead one of the best offenses and best teams in baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays. But as you just mentioned, might be a little tough not getting a couple of their guys on this list.
Again, I don't think it's going to be the case, but I know like you can point to a position, you can point to Randy and say, well, this guy has been better offensively. And shortstop position with Wander. Like, I just believe because that team has been so good, they should get an extra little nod, but they're not going to. It's actually going to do them a disservice because it's the Rays and that market, and they're going up against the Blue Jays voting. Not that the Rays fan base isn't great, but
an entire country is voting for one team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, that's a good one as well.
Yeah. So go vote. Go vote for your favorite players.
Randy would be a great personality to have there.
That's
as
what
well.
you want.